Griffin. Number 12, a senior midi, Aaron Collins. Number 13, a senior defender, Casey Pepperman. Number 14, a sophomore defender, Nadine Hadnaggy. Number 15, a sophomore midi, Zoe Stukenberg. Number 21, a junior midi, Taylor Cummings, the reigning Tewaaraton winner. Number 23, a freshman standout, Megan Whittle on attack. Number 27, a senior defender, Shanna Brady. And between the pipes in goal, number 34, a redshirt graduate student, Alex Fitzpatrick. The Terps coached by Kathy Reese, who is a 1996 graduate of Maryland. And the Terps come into this game with Megan Whittle, the freshman, leading the way in scoring. She has 40 goals. Meanwhile, Taylor Cummings has 39 as we head to center circle for the first draw of this ball game. And Beth, you played in this game last year. Princeton coming within 1 goal of you guys in that game. What was that matchup like? I recall
That game came down to the very last minute, and Princeton was there at all times with Maryland. They're a very aggressive team, very deliberate on the offensive end, and they're very disciplined. So I think here today they're going to have to maintain this draw control statistical category, and as we see here, they've won the first one, so they're off to a good start.
And that's a good start for the Tigers. Princeton, of course, in the orange tops with the black skirts. Maryland in the all-white ops uniforms, as Princeton will get things started, and they'll work it along their back line to bring the ball up. And this is something where if you're Princeton, you want the ball to do the work. You don't want to do too much running against this Maryland midfield.
Exactly. That's something that we saw Rutgers struggle with last week against the Terps on this field.
Nonetheless, Rutgers does get in the offensive zone, and they will set up shop for the first offensive possession of this game. Again, Hompe is the one to watch. He had 27 goals coming into this game. And let's see what type of strategy Princeton will use. Last year when they played you guys, what were they doing? Were they trying to play up tempo? Were they trying to slow it down?
They're definitely not a run and gun style of offense like the Terps are. They are more deliberate and run through their plays and their offenses multiple times, kind of try and lull you to sleep almost, catch you on your toes and see if they can sneak one past you.
So Rutgers going to try a run here inside the 12. Instead, they'll pass it to the far corner. So a lot of patience here, and it looks like they're trying to set up a stack on the far side for some cutters. And they'll reset on the far side once again.
Lots of picks coming off in that 8-meter. It's going to be crucial for the defense to communicate that and talk through the switching and the staying on of the girl.
Maryland defending strong behind, and now Princeton forced to reset from the top. A little 2v2 on the right side of the field here. But Dowdy shutting things down for Maryland.
Princeton's doing a good job of maintaining possession right now, not trying to force any looks into the middle or any shots that are a little bit unnecessary.
And if you're Princeton and you have the ball, the positive there is that Maryland doesn't have the ball on offense, and that's a good play for Princeton right now as they continue to work the ball and work their offense. Still being patient on the near side as they wing it around. Gersoff had it, and then she passed it off as the Tigers will try their luck against Dowdy, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, week, and had to pass that one off.
And you see Maryland defending behind the goal, not giving them any easy feeds inside, which has worked for them so far this season.
And Maryland playing some clean defense using their feet rather than sticks or reaching, so no penalties so far. Princeton now just a step outside the 8, now back outside the 12. Little flip, and now going to try their luck on the near side. Inside the 8 now, shot, saved by Fitzpatrick. So the Maryland defense holds, and here's where Maryland can be dangerous in this transition as Dowdy gets it started.
And although Princeton just held the ball for a good amount of time, what was that, almost 4 minutes, Maryland isn't going to be slow here. They're going to try and get a goal quick.
And McPartland loses it, but she'll be rewarded with an 8-meter, and that's favorable as she's directly in front of the keeper. McPartland setting up the 8. Instead, she'll pass off to Cummings. Inside, Whittle bouncing shot. No good, but Collins is there. Fighting for it. Princeton still battling. McPartland trying to corral it. Still loose. And the Tigers will hold on their first defensive possession. Hompy with it as Princeton tries to get going, but they will turn it over out of bounds.
Yeah, unfortunate to fight to get that ball back and then throw it away quickly like that. That last look on the 8-meter, great ball movement by Maryland. Megan Whittle may have wanted to take one more step inside the 8-meter, make that more of a high-angle shot.
Had Nagy with it now at midfield. She'll fling it up ahead. That's Cummings with it in her stick. The Torrington winner from a year ago. Cummings trying to make a move inside. Still with it. Cummings will flip it behind the cage now to Brooke Griffin, a Torrington watch list member herself, and now it's Kristen Lehman with it. Now Stukenberg, and she'll get it back to Cummings. So Maryland getting everyone a touch now and trying to get their offense settled in as they went quickly on their first possession but didn't quite find a rhythm yet. Cummings will flip it back to Griffin on the far side. Griffin's inside dish to Stukenberg, who's forced back out.
That was a good look inside to Zoe Stukenberg. She just didn't have the angle on the shot. Smart pulling that out and not forcing it.
Cummings spin move inside is forced back. Still with it. Loses it. And they are going to blow a whistle, and it will be Princeton ball. So the Tigers with 2 defensive stops. Let's see if they can clear this and get things back in the offensive zone.
Great defense there by Princeton. You really have to do anything that you can to stop Taylor Cummings as she's driving to the goal. And they had great body positioning on that play, didn't foul her, and they ended up getting the call.
Now the Tigers have it back in their offensive possession. Let's see what they can do. The first possession, they drained about almost 4 minutes, and now let's see what they'll do.
And they probably will take another few minutes off the clock. Why not? It's 0-0 in the first half. Still very early in the game.
And if you're Princeton at this point, Maryland has yet to really find a rhythm on offense. They haven't had many touches to begin with. So far, so good if you're the Tigers.
Yeah, they looked a little out of sync on that last offensive possession. Maybe next time down they'll get into their plays.
Princeton now working it on the near side. Flag is up, so Princeton will get an 8-meter, and they will put the ball down to get the call.
And that was off the ball. Kelly McPartland got that call. Maybe she was in 3 seconds.
Bouncing shot, and we will score it for the Tigers. So Princeton will jump on the board first here in College Park. A 1-0 lead with 23:45 to go as the Tigers draw first blood here in College Park.
Great bounce shot there by Anna Doherty past Alex Fitzpatrick in goal. There's not much that you can do to stop that one. And now Princeton has a little bit of momentum, and that's really good to have in the beginning of a game, especially when you are playing the #1 team in the country.
So the sophomore comes away with that big play, and that bouncing shot so effective, especially on this field. A couple years ago they had to tear up the field, and it's just concrete underneath, so that bounce works. So go back to center circle now. Princeton did win the first draw, and they'll win the second draw. So Princeton outdrawing the Terps so far, and it's not often you see Maryland behind that count. And Princeton will sub 3 players in on that line change. So the Tigers going with some big-time changes as they come out for this possession.
Yes, they are a team that has depth, and that's going to be very beneficial for them, especially down as this game progresses.
And Princeton will clear it back into the offensive zone, and it seems like Princeton's done a pretty good job clearing. They had 1 turnover in the midfield. Other to that, they've gotten it back in the offensive zone pretty easily.
Yes, their stick skills are looking very sharp, very crisp passes, not getting a lot of low percentage passing in the midfield, and that's very important against Maryland, who does like to ride.
And Princeton comes in this game with a big win over Yale in the Ivies, a 7-5 win in favor of the Tigers. And Princeton definitely in a lot of lower scoring games than Maryland's been accustomed to. So you have a bit of a defensive team against a team that likes to lay up the scoreboard. And so far, it's been Princeton's pace, if you will, in this game. That shot goes wide. Princeton's near, so it will stay with the Tigers.
Heads up play by the attackers down there at the goal line, getting to that end line quickly so that the Terps didn't have an easy turnover there.
Princeton trying a spin move. The Tigers will have to pull it out as Hadnaggy was all over that one. Jersoff with it on the far side. Jersoff trying to make a move. Still working with the ball. Double team coming. Will she find the open player? She does up top. Nice quick pass. And they will draw the shooting space call. That will be Polisco getting the opportunity. And a nice job of recognizing that. Shot hits the post. Still loose. And Princeton will come away with it again. So a second chance opportunity for the Tigers. Inside dish. Can they get the shot? Low sweeping shot. Score it. So Polisco doesn't get it on the 8 meter. She'll do the more difficult sweep shot and get the goal and a 2-0 lead for the Tigers with 21-27 to go in the first half.
Yeah, great relentless hustle there by the Princeton offensive unit. Anna Palacio didn't get that first goal. I think Shanna Brady had a stick on it, made it hit the pipe, but they didn't give up on that ground ball and worked it in there quickly. I think Maryland might have been expecting them to pull it out a little bit as they have been doing so far in this game, but they just shot one right in the middle, and nice shot there by Anna Palacio.
And the way it works in women's lacrosse, oftentimes it's the draw control on the scoreboard. There's a direct correlation, and right now there is, as Princeton is up 2-0 on the scoreboard and in the draw control category.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial for Maryland to get a draw control here.
Maryland number 1 in the Big Ten in that statistic, number 10 nationally in that statistic. As the Terps do win this draw, as Dowdy has it, she's double teamed, but she will run right through that. Oh, nice move there, and she has midfield. She eluded 4, now 5 Tigers as she'll get a call. And Megan Dowdy, the Tiger tamer on that exchange. Off the restart now, another whistle. Might have an offsides on Princeton. Nonetheless, it's a restart for Maryland. Behind the cage now, that's Griffin with it. Griffin to Lehman. Back to Stukenberg, and now to Cummings. And Maryland has seen this stall type of tactic before. Over the last couple of years, it seems to be a go-to for teams trying to upend the Terps. Beth, you were part of the team and have had to deal with it. How does Maryland handle that? Does it change anything with what they want to do on offense?
Yeah, it's definitely something that teams try to do to stifle Maryland's offense just because they do have so many weapons, and when they have the ball on offense, they typically score. You don't really change your game plan. You just have to focus on your team and play your game.
So, as Kathy Reese says, you got to play that Maryland lacrosse.
Exactly.
As Griffin will now reset it up top, and it's McPartlin. McPartlin with Aaron Collins flanking, making a move inside the 8, and she'll be forced to pull it back. So Princeton playing some good help defense. Cummings goes behind to Griffin. Griffin inside, Lehman, one-timer, score it from Maryland. Brooke Griffin connects with Lehman, and Maryland's on the board, a 2-1 deficit with 19:37 to go in the first half.
That's Kristen Lehman's bread and butter right there. Brooke Griffin knows that when she's coming off that pick from the far side, she's going to be open. She has that tall presence. She has a good awareness of the field and in that 8 meter. Brooke saw her coming very early, anticipated that pass, and Kristen Lehman's so good at that quick stick shot, not even cradling, not letting the goalie get set.
And it's one of those types of shots where you kind of get the goalie looking. The ball's already in the back of the net by the time the stick from the goalie moves.
Yeah, not uncommon for Kristen Lehman right there.
Of course, Lehman breaking out in last year's national title game. She had a hat trick against Syracuse as Maryland went on to win their 12th national championship, 11th NCAA national title. So go back to the drawing board. A little bit of a low pop, and Maryland fighting for it. Princeton's right there. And the Tigers will get possession. I believe it was off the stick of Whittle out of bounds. A lot of orange in the stands, a pretty short drive from Princeton to get here. Made that trip over the years back to Princeton, so some fun road trips, and I'm sure the Tiger fans in attendance are having a good time. Bit of a chilly day, but probably a little bit of New Jersey weather down here. A little bit chilly, a little bit windy. A cool early spring evening.
No rain yet. Knock on wood.
Although it is in the forecast to hit
is.
around 8 p.m., so we may be seeing some umbrellas as that's a loose ball now, and the Terps come away with it. That was Taylor Cummings coming up with the ball there. And now Maryland will bring it in from Shannon Brady as she eludes one defender. Looking to pass. Nope, just kidding. She will now take midfield as she approaches the restraining line, and now we are into the Terps offensive zone. And the call from the Maryland sidelines to settle, so let's see if they work the ball around and get everyone some touches before they go into any sort of offensive set.
Maybe it's a sneak play and settle really means go to goal immediately.
Well, you are the insider. Maryland does wing it around. It looks like we've gone around the horn twice now. And now Cummings has it, near side of Stukenberg. And Stukenberg, this sophomore, has really burst on the scene this year. She had a great freshman season and now a stellar sophomore year.
Yeah, you can tell she's really settled into her role on this team, feels very comfortable, has a lot of goals on the season, and she's really done a nice job for Maryland.
Aaron Collins with it up top. And now we'll go to Kelly McPartland as the call for Ninja comes in, and Coach Kathy Reese with a Ninja Turtle style kick. And so let's see if Maryland does in fact go Ninja as that ball goes out of bounds.
She
so
almost Ninja. Still in Ninja.
The Ninja Terps, if you will, as we get set up on this inbounds. Behind the cage with it is Brooke Griffin. And Princeton electing not to pressure behind. Inside one-timer again, Lehman. Griffin, Lehman, twice as nice. We are tied at 2 with 17:09 to go, and Ninja works.
Yeah, it does. It looked like the same exact play as the last time Maryland was on offense. Kristen Lehman coming off that pick. Again, she really uses her body well. She's good at really being deceiving in there. Her defender couldn't communicate through that pick, and she was just wide open and great shot.
And a lot of these Maryland players, Taylor Cummings, Kristen Lehman, they have good length. They're a bit taller than your average lacrosse player, and you can't really tell until all of a sudden they're right in front of the keeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, height is definitely an advantage in this women's lacrosse game, but as you can see, Megan Whittle, she's not the tallest player on the field and has been doing awesome for the Terps. So
Lehman stands at 5'9", Cummings at 5'7", but she looks taller than 5'7". As we go back to center circle. And Cummings goes straight up. She loves that, but Princeton attacked her stick wisely, and we've seen that work at times. And whose ball will it be? Based off the crowd, I believe it's going to be Maryland.
That definitely is something that teams scout. They see that Taylor Cummings likes to get it high above her right shoulder, and one of the strategies that they may use is to let her actually get the ball into her stick and then check it out.
And Taylor Cummings, or excuse me, Megan Dowdy will bring it up, and we'll get a call from Maryland. So the Terps setting up in the offensive zone with 16:30 to go, a 2-2 ball game. Princeton off to a 2-0 lead to get things started before Maryland scoring on 2 Brooke Griffin, 2 Kristen Lehman goals. Now the stick's back with Griffin, or the ball is back with Griffin.
Here comes Kristen again, unmarked. Oh, she picked her up.
And now they'll go back up top. McPartland isolated, and I don't know if you want to do that. as she'll draw a call. It's going to be the far hash.
She's got a lot of room here. No one directly on the adjacents for her on this hash.
McPartland sweeping shot. That might have hit a post. I'm not quite sure what it hit, but Princeton will scoop it up, and we'll get a call for Princeton, so the Tigers will get possession.
Well done by Stephanie Palacio. I'm not going offsides there. She got the ground ball safely.
Palacio with it now, and now here come the Tigers looking to swing this momentum back. They're inside the restraining area. There's an open player up ahead, but Maryland's defense closes quickly. I thought that might have been a quick one-timer for Hompy.
Good speed by Amanda Level coming into that offensive end. She is a defensive player, but she got the ball all the way over the 30, almost created a goal.
And Princeton does have some of that ACC flavor on their coaching staff that Maryland is accustomed to, with Jen Cook, a 2007 graduate from Carolina. She must be very familiar with going against Maryland and how the Terps play and what they like to do. Those two teams doing battle in the ACC over the years before Maryland joined the Big Ten and the creation of the Big Ten's lacrosse conference. Excuse me. As Princeton now will work their ball on offense. And now that Maryland's had a couple of quick goals, if you're Princeton, you want to still take the air of the ball. I don't think you want to try to get caught up in that up and down type of game.
Yeah, Maryland is on a bit of a run here, and you don't want to let them get out of hand.
Inside, one touch. Polishko, nice try, but she'll pick it up again, and she's really good at grabbing her own rebounds. Tigers now trying their luck on the far side, and taking the air out of the ball is a smart play here. 14 minutes to go, 2-2 game. So far you're hanging with the reigning defending national champions, still very much in this game.
And Princeton's doing a lot of isolations on one side of the field and overloading the other side as they have picks and cuts coming across the field.
And if you can get a call, get a shooting space call inside the 8, you take it. Otherwise, just be patient. Nice inside behind the back shot, but Maryland will come up with that Fitzpatrick all over it. Now Maryland will start their run.
Erin McMunn couldn't really get her feet set. She kind of had a spin shot, almost like a dunk in basketball. Good save by Alex Fitzpatrick. That high shot. It's an easy one for goalkeepers to make.
That might have been a little bit self-defense there, as that ball came on her pretty quickly. As Maryland's already in their offensive zone, Stukenberg with it, cross field, pass to Whittle. Whittle, of course, leading the Terps with 40 goals as a freshman. She came in as the #1 rated recruit in the country, and Maryland seems to always have a freshman that's ready to burst on the scene, and it seems like Whittle is that player this year.
Yeah, a team that always reloads, and that's what makes them so successful year after year.
Now near side, Taylor Cummings with it. A couple years ago, Cummings was that star freshman. Now McPartland, nice shot, score! And McPartland driving it home with that powerful shot. And Maryland has taken a 3-2 lead. They're on a 3-0 scoring run. Princeton will take time. And Beth, what did you see on that play?
Taylor Cummings did great off the ball. What you do off the ball is almost more important than when you have the ball. Taylor Cummings set that on-ball pick. Kelly McPartland was up top. She had a lot of room to run, came right off of Taylor Cummings' heels, and she loves that riser shot right into the top of the goal.
It's almost like a softball pitch, if you will.
Yeah, maybe she's played softball. I don't think so, though.
A little Jenny Finch type action there on that shot. And Maryland's offense so diverse, it's hard to pick someone to double team. If you're Princeton defensively, they've had moments of brilliance. They held them down scoreless to begin the game at 2-0 lead. If you're Princeton, what are you saying in this huddle as you try to regroup?
Definitely communicating on the defensive end. It's been the off-ball picks that have gotten goals for Maryland, so I think they just need to do a better job of communicating and talking through those and switching when necessary. Both of Kristen Lehman's goals were off of picks. That last goal for Kelly McPartland was off of a pick, so they need to do a better job of defending those.
And McPartland, that's her 16th goal of the year. And Maryland, with such diverse scoring, I mean, Lehman now has 10 goals on the year, so she'll join the double-digit scoring club for the Terps. Maryland, that's the thing that they do so well. It's never just one player.
Yeah, there's 7 people on the offensive end, and at any time, any of those 7 can score.
6 Terps in double digits. And take us inside, I guess, the locker room, if you will, the offense. When you were part of the Terps and being part of a strong offense alongside of Katie Schwarzman, who won a Tewaaraton, alongside Taylor Cummings last year, what's it like playing and knowing that you're going to get a lot of one-on-ones because you can't really double anymore?
Yeah, it's really fun, and you just have that confidence in everyone around you, and everyone is there for you, and you know that you can go to goal without being yelled at if you miss, or we just all have each other's back, and I think that's really important, especially as a unit on offense.
And if you're Princeton, you're still very much in this game. We haven't really seen a team in a while hang with Maryland, at least through this point, before the goals piled up. So if you're Princeton, you're very much in it. You've had an advantage on the draw. You've had success there. The key is get a possession and, drain some air out of the ball, take up some clock. And Princeton's right there. It's a one-goal game, and in this sport, it can change in a hurry with possession being a 50-50 proposition every time a goal is scored.
And Princeton has had more shots than Maryland. They're leading them in the shots category 7-6, so they just have to take an extra second and stick that shot around Alex Fitzpatrick.
Ball's still loose, and Cummings with it, but it's going to be Princeton ball, and that's just what the Tigers needed. And Maryland behind in the shot category, as Beth said, and Maryland definitely a volume shooting team so far this year, so that's a big win so far for Princeton. As the Tigers, let's see if they try to go quick or if they'll get into their offensive set. And Mercer closed down that opportunity, and now the Tigers will regroup.
In Princeton here, they just had 2 attackers coming off the sideline, subbed out 2 defenders, so they couldn't really have a chance for a man-up situation there. Smart to not force it into the middle.
And a pretty clean game so far between these two teams. Not a lot of fouling and illegal checks, so that's always nice to see. Tigers working on the far side now. And now they'll go to the near side. Nice inside pass, one-timer, bouncing shot, score it. Princeton has tied this game up. Polishko with her 2nd goal of the game, and she's such a little player in there, but she just finds those cracks in the defense, and we are tied at 3.
Yeah, Erin McMunn really threaded the needle on that pass. Stephanie Plasher didn't even look like she were open, but she had that stick up. The defender, was trailing a little bit on the play, and you really can't even let the offensive person get one step on you because they will pass that ball into the middle.
And of course, the Princeton junior standing at 5'1", so a mighty might, if you will. She finds her way inside, and creative shot there as we go back to center circle. Princeton coming away with the last straw, coming away with the goal. So these Tigers not going away easily and really giving the Terps a game here today. Low draw, attacked by both teams. Princeton comes away with it again. So the Tigers back on offense now, and let's see if they can get the clear. Maryland now really pressuring, as that'll be a hard check there. It'll stay with the Tigers, and they'll get some space.
Princeton being very feisty on the draw. Lauren Steidel, she just came out of a little bit of a scruffle there and protected it, got it back to her defender, played it safe, and that's what you have to do against Maryland, just kind of play it safe.
And now Maryland kind of unleashing a double in the midfield now, and Princeton has been pretty good at finding the open player. Let's see if they can do it. And this fitness by Erin Collins and Megan Whittle going back and forth, trying to stop the ball.
Again, Amanda Level's speed. Very fast out of the defensive end.
Level coming to Princeton all the way from Houston, Texas.
And you don't see a lot of players coming out of Texas to play at the Division I level, so that's really cool to see, spreading the game.
A couple years ago, I remember Northwestern had a pretty good defender, Thornton, who was a Tewaaraton finalist out of Texas.
It's the next hotbed for lacrosse.
And Northwestern did play William and Mary, I believe, at the Cowboys Stadium when it first
Check the rice.
opened.
Yes,
So
they did.
Texas has gotten a little bit of lacrosse flavor.
No water. If you don't see any water, turn it off.
As
Turn
Maryland
the heat
does
off.
make the defensive stand there, and the Terps coming down on offense. Just under 10 to go in this first half. Mercer with it near side. She'll find the restraining area.
Now, what I normally do
And Mercer unmarked,
is the last time you checked
but
it,
we'll pass
and
it
the
to
water was real low.
Stukenberg to
That's
get
when I
the
start
Terps
turning. That's when I
offense
turn the
started.
clock on. I start
Unlucky
timing.
there for
So I don't want to
Princeton.
forget
They had
about
a
it.
chance to regain the lead there.
Alright, so turn off the
Just
heat.
couldn't catch that ball in the middle of the field, and Alex Fitzpatrick was easy, or got an easy ground ball there.
And Maryland loves to play quote-unquote Maryland lacrosse, but right now it seems like they're kind of stuck in Princeton's pace, as we've had only 6 shots on goal from Maryland so far in this game. And Whittle is fouled. She will get an 8-meter on the far hash.
Either clean it or just put water in it.
Whittle bouncing shot and score for the freshman. Her 41st of the year and a 4-3 lead for the Terrapins.
Nice shot there by Megan Whittle. She was not on a favorable hash, but she did have her right hand up over there on the left side, so that is beneficial when you are on that hash. She stuck it behind her low to the right, and that was just a hard save to make there. Good shot.
And talking about the Terps' offensive diversity, they have 4 goals on the board. Taylor Cummings has not been part of any of the scoring plays, the reigning Torrington winner, and it just speaks to the depth of this Maryland offense and the weapons they have.
Yeah, nothing really to worry about for the Terps, although Taylor Cummings hasn't scored.
I don't know.
She's
It's usually
all
around
over the field,
sometimes 3 hours.
regardless of that,
We
and
got
she
an hour
knows
and a
that
half
she
on the
doesn't even
webinar,
have
and
to
the
force
game
it in
has
there, just
I don't know,
because her
40 minutes
teammates have
left.
been doing the work.
And Princeton comes away with another draw. The Tigers winning the draw battle so far, and that has kept them right with the Terps. Princeton, as Beth said earlier, was within 1 goal last year, so these Tigers seem to know how to play against the Terps. As now the Tigers will set their offense up with 8:44 to go in this first half. And they're really spreading Maryland out right now. Let's see if they will try to run some clock or if they will go into a set. Back up top they come.
Definitely taking care of the ball here. The last possession that they had down on offense, they did not come away with the goal, so they're trying to change that.
Tigers make it move inside the 8. Instead, will pass it behind. Princeton now will pull it right back out once again. So the Tigers being patient, trying to work the ball around and do a better job, as Beth said, than they did their last time down.
And lots of stacks, kind of that 3-man stack over there on the elbow. Really keeping the Maryland defenders having to see both the ball and see their girls while they may be switching girls because of the stack.
Princeton still being patient with it. 7:36 to go. Now they'll make a move towards goal. Low shot, score it! Princeton gets back on the board. It's Aaron Slifer with it. And Princeton has tied this game up, and these Tigers not going away.
Not going away at all. Great kind of a hop step move there. Got 1 step on Alice Mercer, who's a great defender. Even the slightest step, you're going to want to shoot that, and that was a great shot. And Maryland is switching up the draw here. They have Zoe Stukenberg in the middle. So just trying to get a different look and throw off the Princeton team.
And Princeton has had Olivia Hompey in at the X position, and here's where Maryland's big wins over Rutgers and some of the other teams help, because they've been able to try out different players at the draw and put a Taylor Cummings elsewhere to try to help out and support.
Yeah, Maryland does have a lot of draw specialists on their team. You really only hear about Taylor Cummings because she's so dominant. But last year, I know during the Boston College game here, Terps were having some issues making the draw, and they threw in Deborah Milani, and she did such a great job on there. So they really have a lot of different weapons.
And right now, Taylor Cummings just all over the Princeton back line. And now here comes Stukenberg. It seems to have lit a fire under Maryland, all these draws going against them. But Princeton will find the clear. And there's still a double there. But now the Tigers will have some room to work with. 6:50 to go. And if you're Princeton, you got to start thinking about this clock and halftime and that sort of thing. You're right in a great position if you're Princeton. The clock right now should be your BFF.
Yeah, they're pulling it way out beyond 12, almost up to the restraining line. We'll see if they decide to hold it this remainder of the half.
And it would be a very smart play, as Maryland, as I like to say, has that Terp zone within the 2-minute mark of halftime of being able to score and score in bunches, especially fueled by that draw, which Princeton has dominated so far today.
Yeah, it would be smart for Princeton. Not fun for Maryland. I don't think they would allow them to do that. I think they would come out and pressure it before it got to the point where the half was ending and they were still holding the ball.
Princeton still with it. Tigers are working on the near side. And right now, if you're Princeton, this game could not have gone much better, as they're right in the thick of things. They have possession. They have a tie game with the #1 ranked Maryland Terrapins.
And Princeton is trying to go to goal here. Maryland's doing a good job of playing their compact defense, but Princeton's going to continue to push it.
Tigers dancing around the crease behind, and now Maryland putting a little pressure on, and they'll have to kick it out. They'll try their luck near side. Inside one-timer. Tiger goes down, but a shot goes in. So Princeton will score in the scrum. I'm not quite sure who put it into the back of the net, but nonetheless, it will be a Tigers goal and a 5-4 Princeton lead.
Yeah, Erin McMunn scooped that one off. They tried to thread the needle again into Stephanie Palacio because she has been having success on those cuts. Ball was down. Maryland couldn't come up with it. And out of that, Erin McMunn scooped it up. Got one past Alex Fitzpatrick.
And, of course, the stick checks out as we take another look at this. The one-timer, not there, big-time collision, no call. And then I think the defense and Fitzpatrick might have just lost track of the ball as I did.
Yeah, she definitely didn't even know that Princeton had scooped up the ball. I don't even know that the Erin McMunn knew that she had the ball.
As we'll go back to center circle, Princeton winning the draw so far, and Stukenberg will take it again from Maryland as she will go head-to-head with Hompe, the leading scorer of the Tigers this season.
And I hear a get the draw chant in the stands. I don't know if that's for Maryland or for Princeton. Maybe it was for Maryland because Maryland came up with it.
Well, Maryland will get that draw, and let's see if they can get things going and kick things into Terp gear with a faster possession as they like to run. McPartland forced to slow it down. They'll get it up top to Cummings. Cummings, shooting space call, I believe.
That was off ball. So Kelly McPartland will have it on the hash.
And McPartland very dangerous in those one-on-ones. Low sweeping shot goes wide, but I believe Maryland comes up with it. That's Collins. And the call for Ninja, and last time they ran this, it was Griffin to Lehman. Let's see if that's a combination again.
Gotta go back to Ninja. That's where they have found success.
McPartland up top. Making a move inside. His nice little jab step, still with it. Across to Lehman. Lehman looking for a cutter. Still looking. Maryland all bunched up on the left side. Now Cummings inside. No angle, no shot, loose ball. Princeton comes up with it.
I think that might have been off the pipe again. So 2 pipes on that possession for Maryland. Unlucky. Good defense by Princeton. Not letting them have that second chance opportunity.
And the Tigers doing a good job of really shutting down that angle on Taylor Cummings, forcing that ball into the post.
Yeah, that was similar to Kristen Lehman's cut coming off. So maybe in that timeout they did talk about forcing the cutters wide, and even if they get the ball, just keeping them out of the 8-meter.
And right now, Princeton doing their best to try to clear. 3:30 to go before halftime. A 1-goal lead in favor of the Tigers as they look to upset Maryland, who comes into this game with a perfect 12-0 record. And Princeton will clear it, and let's see. They will have a decision to make on offense. Will they press or will they hold for one last shot? Chris Saylor will have a big-time call to make here.
I do expect them to continue to look like they are forcing it in and being aggressive on offense, but I think that they'll definitely choose the best shot, and that probably will come in the last few seconds for this Princeton offense.
Well, it seems like Maryland's not giving them any room to breathe. They aren't going to let them hold it as Maryland's pressing the ball everywhere on the field right now. Shannon Brady trying to force that turnover, but Princeton will still have it. They'll go behind the cage, 2:30 to go. Princeton inside low shot, hit the post, whistle, and we may have a yellow card here.
Yeah, Aaron Slifer took one to the face there. Kelly McPartland got her after the shot.
So she will have to sit out for 3 minutes. 2 minutes. So
unless a goal is scored here, she'll have an 8-meter. And she has someone open down on the crease.
So this is an opportunity for Princeton here. Inside low shot, and the Tigers will score it. A nice job there, and once again, it's Hompy. She will get on the board. That is her first of the game, and that'll allow McPartland back into the game. But the Tigers will have a 2-goal lead with 2:23 to go.
Great look down low. I think on that whistle, Casey McPepperman was trying to sneak down low to be there because she knew that she was going to pass down low as she was wide open on the crease. She couldn't get down there, so again, wide open. Good shot.
And I guess if McPartland's last shot was like softball, that was like bowling. As, she went down low and got a strike, if you will, as we go back to center circle. And now a critical draw coming, a 2-goal lead for Princeton. 2:23 to go. Possession here, huge. If you're Maryland, the Terps can strike quick and all of a sudden make this a different game before half. But if you're Princeton, you win this, all of a sudden you could be strolling in the locker room with a 2 or 3 goal lead.
High one.
Loose ball. Cummings momentarily had it, and it will be Maryland ball on the near side, so the Terps do get it, but Princeton all over it. A nice move there, and Maryland already in the offensive zone. That's Pepperman. Pepperman now will get it to Stukenberg. Goes back to Collins.
And although there's 2 minutes on the clock, Maryland's not going to hit the brakes, especially as they're down 2 goals.
And the call for Ninja again, it's Lehman to Stukenberg. Stukenberg trying to make a move inside. 2 defenders run into each other. Lehman now with it. As the Maryland coaches say to keep it hot, so I would assume that means keep the ball moving.
Exactly.
Inside, nice save there by Princeton, and the Tigers trying to corral it, and they do.
Taylor Cummings definitely will wish that she had that one back. Not very deceptive with that shot. Maybe one more fake.
1:15 to go. Princeton already inside the offensive zone. Spin move there, and now they will set up their offense with a minute to go. So Princeton, let's see if they can make the most of this possession. Maryland, let's see if they elect to pressure hard as they did the last time the Tigers had the ball. And that call will give Princeton some room to work with on that far side.
And Maryland just is content to stay. Oh, never mind. I was going to say staying on the 8 as Casey Pepperman's coming off to deflect that pass.
So Maryland playing this one pretty aggressively, had Nagy right on the ball. 38 seconds to go. Princeton trying to go in the locker room with at least a 2-goal lead, trying to make it more. But that ball comes loose, still loose, and Dowdy, or is that McPartland, comes up with it. And now a double there, and now Maryland all of a sudden might have a chance, but that ball is picked back up by Princeton. 20 seconds to go before half. The Tigers with it inside the 12, kicking it back out now, trying to make a move inside. 10 seconds to go before the break. Ball's behind. Princeton trying to make a move inside. One-timer not there, and the half will end on that. So both teams closing the half, going hard at each other. But when all is said and done, the number 1 Terrapins will go into the locker room trailing number 14 Princeton 6-4. So a pretty interesting first half here. It's been Princeton style, playing a slower pace and working in their favor. The draw, a huge advantage for the Tigers so far today.
Yeah, Maryland was very lucky to not have a 3-goal deficit here with that last offensive possession for Princeton. I think they just need to focus on their game and, like we said, the Maryland offense and the Maryland defense, and not worry about what they're doing. That being said, they do need to do a much better job on the draw. Princeton's just out hustling them right now, and that's a 50-50 ball mostly inside that center circle, and Princeton is very feisty and being very good at coming up with that ground ball.
And we will take a break along with the teams. We will be back for the second half of the team.
She's very good at not panicking and seeing the whole picture, but she definitely would have wanted to light a fire under this Maryland team. You don't want to be losing at halftime against a team on your home field. So Maryland gets this first draw control. That's the first step, and I think they need to continue that throughout this half, winning the draws.
And that first draw huge is it could set the tone for the second half as the skies have opened up here in College Park. A heavy and cold rain falling. As we've had our fair share of weather. We've had a snowstorm for a game to start. We've had a windstorm, and now we have a heavy rainstorm. So a little bit of everything here in Maryland, and that's the way the weather goes in this part of the country. As Brooke Griffin sets it up, she'll flip it up top to Kelly McPartland. The senior now driving inside and saved by Princeton. So the Tigers will make a defensive stand to start things off. That's DeGamo.
And she's making the saves that she needs to make, and that's all you can really ask of your goalie. You know that coming into a game that you're not going to save every single shot that comes against you, but just those ones that you are supposed to make and that you are able to make.
And the high-to-high is a goalie's best friend. As Princeton has cleared, they're back in the offensive zone. A 2-goal lead, and Princeton has been very patient and deliberate with the ball. So far the score will feed into that type of strategy, but Maryland is pressuring. They aren't sitting back.
When you see the early double coming, that may have been another thing that they talked about in the halftime locker room. Just being relentless and with that pressure, being aggressive and not letting them get off any easy passes, making them uncomfortable with the ball in their stick.
And that's going to be a foul behind the cage as Polishio was fouled. She already has 2 goals in this game.
Hey, it's David.
As we'll get it set
How you
up.
doing?
And now inside shot, score it for, no,
Oh,
loose ball.
Yeah, I thought that was a goal too. I think the fans also did. They started cheering.
The way she got excited or slammed her stick down, I thought it was celebration, but it was frustration as Maryland is turning it up on the other end. Brady with it, and Brady will get it near side as Maryland settles into their offense. They'll sub in Lehman for Mercer as they go to work on the offensive end, trailing by 2.
Unlucky for Stephanie Palacio, she has had a lot of good goals in this game and good passes. She's been involved on a lot of Princeton's goals. I think she just hit the pipe there.
Whittle driving inside, shot, no angle, and she will score, get that goal, protractor. I'm not sure how she found an angle there, but Maryland makes it a 1-goal game with a 6-5 game with 27:18 to go.
And that's something that we see from Megan Whittle game after game after game. That drive from the left elbow, and it seems like she has no angle. She keeps it in her right hand, protects it in between her shoulders, and gets off that shot to the lower right-hand corner of the goal.
And during halftime, a lot of the Terps' favorite professors were honored And Megan Whittle's math teacher and the protractor has to be honored. As I'm not sure how she found an angle there, but the freshman with her 42nd goal of her career and of the season.
And that's one of those times where the goalkeeper probably thought that she was safe and out of trouble temporarily, but that's when Megan Whittle really sticks it to you.
Another big draw upcoming as Maryland tries to turn the tide. Low draw. And if you're Princeton, that's an advantage. The scrum is very much a 50-50 proposition. Still loose, bouncing around. And the Tigers seem to come away with it. No, Maryland, I believe, has it now, and the Terps trying to go quickly. Dowdy with it. Nice pass to Griffin. Now Griffin looking, and she'll pass it all the way up top as Maryland settles in their offensive set. Cummings with it. Stukenberg, the sophomore, with it. She'll step back. Passing it to Collins. Now back up top to Taylor Cummings. And Maryland doing a good job of remaining patient. They want to get back into this. They want to tie it up, but they're doing it with a patient demeanor as Cummings says to heck with that patient stuff. She's just going to drive in, go top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, score, and make it a 6-6 game with 26-24 to go.
Yeah, it looked like Taylor Cummings could have gotten a shooting space call against this Princeton defense here. She didn't care. Top right corner, great shot. Maryland, like you said, good job of being patient, taking that high percentage shot and being composed. They were down 2 coming into this half, and now it's all even at 6-6. So they're back in this one. I think that's something that we can expect from Maryland. Uh-oh.
We're going to get a stick check here, and I think Cummings had an illegal stick, so that goal is going to come off the board.
And that's something that you can partially attribute to this rain that's coming down. Your stick pocket just naturally gets bigger, and as a player, you don't even want that. But that's unlucky for Maryland.
So wipe all that away. It is a 6-5 Princeton lead, and Princeton will also get the ball. So no goal there. A wise challenge by Princeton, and perhaps the science behind the water in the netting. I hear Princeton has some pretty smart kids and some smart coaches, so they made the challenge there, and they get the call in their favor.
And that may be something that Maryland also looks to do if Princeton scores a goal here.
So a break there for the Tigers, and can they take advantage of it? You have a goal wiped off, and you get possession. So a big swing here if you're Princeton. And Maryland's defense not sitting back. They had sat back while Princeton was patient on offense, but now they're really going to make Princeton work. So the Tigers now will go behind the cage. Maryland pressuring all over the field. And if you're on defense, if you're Maryland, do you prefer to play this style or sit back and wait for them to make a move?
It depends on the situation. Here, I think it is important that they are playing aggressively. As you see, they're about to get the ball back, possibly.
Still loose.
Lots of scrums here in this game.
And it will ultimately go to Maryland, and Maryland has numbers set up for a fast break, and they'll fling it near side to Brady, and Taylor Cummings will come off, or no, she will just trade sticks as she'll set back up, and now she'll go inside the 12.
And Taylor Cummings is going to be mad here. I expect her to go to goal.
Spinorama, and she'll pull it back out to McPartland. Stukenberg with it as the Princeton coaches ask where Taylor Cummings' first stick was, but as she switched sticks, but the legal stick is in the press box. Behind the cage now, Griffin. Near side of Whittle. Whittle trying to make a cut. A little pick and roll action with Taylor Cummings, but that play didn't work. Behind now to Griffin. Griffin inside, one-timer. And Lehman, again, the third time those two have hooked up on a scoring combination. And now we're tied at 6-6 with 24-25 to go in this ball game.
And Princeton's calling a timeout here. Definitely going to talk about that play between Brooke Griffin and Kristen Lehman. They keep scoring off of it. Half of Maryland's goals have been because of that single play. So I think they need to make a strategy against that to kind of stall it and force Maryland to play a different kind of offense.
And as our graphic shows, forecast cloudy with a chance of rain. I think we can bump that up to it's raining, raining pretty hard here, although I think we might be in a little bit of a dry spell in between the clouds. But so far, we've had ourselves a pretty good ball game as Taylor Cummings is working the kinks out with a new stick on the side and I guess trying to just get a comfortable feel. And generally, how many sticks does a player, I guess, break in for a game or have at all times?
It really depends on the player. Some people like to have 2 or 3 backups that they are comfortable playing with, but others just like to play with 1 stick and they risk it if that's illegal or it breaks or something like that. They'll have to play with a completely new stick.
And when a player has a stick they like, what makes it comfortable? What makes it the right fit?
Just playing with it every day. Some players use the same stick year after year even until the coach makes them get a new one.
Little hitting you guys with some stick info here in College Park.
I don't know much about it. That's just personal.
As we get back to center field and center circle for this draw. At the very least, it does look like the rain has stopped for the moment.
For the moment.
We've had just about every type of weather here in College Park this season. Perhaps a sunny day will be on the horizon. That's the one type of weather that we haven't had this spring, as that's a loose ball inside the restraining area. 3 Terps are there, and Dowdy will get it to Fitzpatrick.
I think 3 different Princeton players scooped up that ball off the draw, but the Maryland defense is just checking it out of their stick.
And now they'll fling it near side. That's Hadnaggy with it. Now up to midfield, Dowdy. And Dowdy has some wheels as she gets into the offensive zone. She'll flip it to Cummings. Cummings now going to try her luck, and she'll take it behind the cage. Cummings looking for a cutter. She has Stukenberg. Bouncing shot goes wide. Griffin's there, though, to keep possession.
Nice look there. The fast break initially wasn't there, but the slow break behind the goal with cutters coming off the top of the 12. Good look there for Taylor Cummings to Zoe Stukenberg, excuse me.
And Griffin with her perch behind the cage. So good at finding cutters from back there. She's found Lehman 3 times for 3 goals. As Whittle will try a 1v1 bouncing shot, not much of an angle, out of bounds, and I believe it's actually going to be a call in favor of Whittle for an 8-meter. So they're going to say she was fouled on that attempt, I believe.
And she's not necessarily on the 8-meter. There are girls inside the 8.
Low sweeping shot right between the keeper's keys. She goes low. That's a nice shot there for the freshman. A 7-6 Terp lead with 23:04 to go.
Yeah, Zoe Stukenberg was in the middle of the 8 there, and I think the defense was more focused on that pass. They thought Megan was going to pass it into the middle to Zoe. She kind of faked the pass and attacked the goal hard.
And this will be a fun replay to see, as that ball, I believe, went right through the keeper's legs. That was the, what was it, the 8 hole is what you call it?
I think it's the 5 hole.
5 hole, there we go.
I'm not sure the meaning of that, but.
As we go back, here we go. Up right through the keeper's legs, and that low shot gives goalkeepers trouble, and she takes advantage there. This draw comes up. Princeton had an advantage on the draw in the first half. Maryland trying to turn that tide. Still loose, and Princeton with it. Will they get the call? They do. Tigers ball. Maryland leads by 1 with 22:49 to go.
Yeah, one-handed pickup there by Anya Gersoff. Very good stick skills.
As Princeton gets into the offensive zone, these Tigers sticking with Maryland throughout, leading by 2 goals at different points of the first half. Now find themselves trailing for the first time in this game.
And Princeton really needed that draw control, having Maryland just scored 3 goals to start this second half.
Princeton working on the far side now. They'll come back up top, and it seems like Maryland has pulled back a little bit on defense, not pressing all over as hard. Wild shot there, and that's a pretty goal if you're a Princeton Tiger. What a play, what a shot. Schleifler, Aaron with it.
And they will have a stick check, so trying to return the favor.
Okay, Lane.
It's legal, so that goal will stay on the board. Aaron Schleifer with the score, and that was a pretty shot.
Yeah, she had one little roll there against Taylor Cummings, got a step on her. Sidearm from the 8. Alex Fitzpatrick probably wasn't ready for that, and a really good shot.
And as longtime motivational speaker and NFL head coach Jimmy Johnson once said, when you go against a big gorilla or a team that's, number one, or you're an underdog, you don't hit them lightly. You hit them with everything you got.
And that's something that Maryland has had to face year after year, really, and especially during the games this season. They always have that target on their back, and teams come in upset-minded.
And Princeton, I'm not sure what it is about maybe having some type of formula, or I wouldn't say a number, but it seems like they play Maryland pretty well throughout the years.
Yeah, and these teams have met a lot historically, going back to the
Put the rice in Tupperware.
1900s, the 1990s, so familiar with each other.
Draw set up a high one like Cummings likes, and she finds it. And that's what Maryland's been missing in this game, as Cummings gets in the offensive zone. That'll be checked out, but she will get the ball right back off of a foul. And that's the bread and butter if you're Taylor Cummings. That's what you love at the draw, and she finally had one of those. It just took a little bit over a half to get one of those. Stukenberg with it, looking to see what she has and make sure that they got the right amount on sides, and now the offense will go. McPartland takes it to the far side. Near side now to Whittle, the freshman. Whittle trying to make a move. She had a little pick there from Griffin, goes low. She'll be fouled, and she will have an 8-meter right in front of the keeper. Can't get much of a better angle than that.
Mm-hmm. One of the advantages of being smaller, if you're playing against a taller defender, you can catch them being a little bit too aggressive.
Megan Whittle setting up, drives inside. She'll go high this time and score it for the Terps, as Maryland takes an 8-7 lead with 21:17 to go. And sometimes those freebies can be the toughest, but she wills it home.
Yeah, it's very important that in any game you convert on those 8-meter opportunities, because they are almost one-on-one with the goalie, but they're harder than they seem because you have the defense crashing in. And when you get a good amount of those 8-meter opportunities throughout a game, especially when it was tied, it's very important to convert on this.
And I believe if we check that draw control stat in this second half, Maryland's turning the tide in that and turning the tide on the scoreboard. And 8-7 was the final in this game last year, a game that my esteemed colleague here, Beth Glaros, played in, and had two draw controls in that game along with some scores. So very familiar between these two teams as Shannon Brady comes up with it.
And in those scrums, the refs aren't really calling anything. It's really hard, especially when you can't really see even where the ball is. I'm sure both teams are empty stick checking.
And that's a good thing. They're calling it both ways. They're allowing the players to decide it. They aren't taking the game over, and that's what you want to see. You want to see these players that work so hard make these plays. Whittle bouncing shot, but gets it right back. That was interesting as it goes right back to Maryland. Collins up top. Collins to Cummings. Taylor Cummings still with it. Isolated one-on-one. That's an uh-oh. As she drives, spins back out, and Princeton's defense sends a double her way. And we will get an off-the-ball call.
Taylor Cummings was doubled down low. Anytime there's a double, that means someone else is open, and she elected to skip past it to Kelly McPartland, which works when there is a double situation.
McPartland sets up, drives, and she scores it. So Kelly McPartland will sneak that in, and Maryland has a 2-goal lead, 9-7 with 20:10 to go in the ball game.
Good adjustment by Kelly McPartland. Her previous 8-meter attempt, she hit that one wide. So that time she took an extra step, dodged around the defender, and made it more of a high percentage shot.
And Princeton does call for a stick check there. It all checks out, so the goal will stand. As all the Princeton players raising their sticks. It's almost as if we're watching the Hunger Games with the Mockingjay symbol. Perhaps a rallying cry for the Tigers as they get set up, and who knows? It could be big. They've hung with Maryland throughout, and a two-goal game is nothing to sneeze at, as both teams have played really hard today, and Princeton has been right there every step of the way.
And we sound like a broken record saying this, but it's completely the jaw control, very indicative of the score. And Princeton was winning them in the first half. Now it's back to Maryland.
As Taylor Cummings gets it right to herself, and that draw control lets you control the game. And now it's Stukenberg inside and score it! Zoe Stukenberg will get that fast break goal, and all of a sudden Maryland riding the momentum with a 10-7 lead with 20 minutes to go.
And that's what Maryland loves to do. They like to push the pace. Even when Princeton is having those longer possessions, they don't care. They like to run down the field, get those pretty transition goals.
And this looks like Maryland lacrosse. That first half, it was Princeton's pace. Now Maryland has found the gas pedal, and you see what happens when the Terps get their offense going.
Very important for Princeton to put their foot down and end this run by Maryland, or else this game is going to continue to trickle away from them.
As he gets set back up for the draw. And again, a high ball that favors Cummings, but Princeton comes out of there with it. And a high stick, so we might get a card. We will get a card, and this will send Aaron Collins to the sidelines. And that's just the type of break Princeton needed as they hope to get back into this thing. As Collins will step off the field for 2 minutes unless a goal is scored by Princeton. And Beth, on that scoring play, who had the assist for Maryland? It was hard to see. It happened so quick.
I think it was Taylor Cummings. I know she got that quick draw and was pushing it into their offensive end.
As now ball is at the midfield, and here comes Princeton once again.
And Princeton probably will take a little bit of time off the clock here. They do have 2 full minutes.
And now behind comes Princeton, and they're being a little bit, they're being aggressive here.
And if they're a man up, what you typically want to exploit out of this Maryland defense is a shooting space call.
Looks like they'll get something off the ball, I believe.
I think it was 3 seconds. So again, if you are a man down on defense, you have to do a lot of more bumping and sliding and being aware of more players at once. And Casey Pepperman just unlucky got caught in the 8-meter.
Palacio drives inside, but the defense closes in. She's forced to kick it out. She already has 2 goals in today's game, looking for that hat trick. Princeton being pretty patient as they wing it around now. Let's see if they'll try to go inside. One-timer, a nice defensive play there by Dowdy, and that'll force the turnover for Maryland.
I think Megan just had a 30-inch vertical there. I've never seen her jump that high.
And it is, in fact, spring, as you see the players' breaths, just an indicator of how chilly it is here in College Park. As there's another foul as Dowdy gets to midfield.
And that's not something you want to happen if you are the Princeton offensive unit. You're a man up and throwing the ball away like that.
And now if you're Maryland, you go into the penalty kill if you have nothing on this break, which is still going.
Yeah, they have about 20 seconds left there on the penalty, so not a lot of time.
Maryland still with it, being patient. Now Princeton going to throw a double team at the ball handler. Inside drive, and McPartland just takes two defenders to the goal with her. Man down, doesn't matter. A reverse power play for Maryland, an 11-7 lead. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, tough on Princeton defense. You send the double, you think that you're waiting for the right opportunity when Kelly McPartland is up by the restraining line, and it doesn't seem like she has any angle or looks like she's going to goal at all, and that's when she just turns on the jets and sprints by you.
She has another gear, and she just turned that corner so quickly. That was an incredible play, and it's not often you see a reverse man-down goal.
Yeah, and it is something that Maryland and I know other teams throughout this Division I collegiate level work on in practice. Man-down situations, man-up situations, end-of-game situations. So there's a lot of things that you need to work on in practice and be ready for.
And Princeton, I think, made a great call there to pressure. You do have that man advantage, so you send a double at the ball, leaving no free extra person, as now Maryland gets it. So an aggressive call that backfires, but a call that I think was a smart one in that situation.
Yeah, anytime you have another person on the field, you're definitely going to send that double. It's just the girls that are off the ball that need to do their part as well.
As Maryland has it behind the cage at Stukenberg. Come near side now to Whittle. Collins, and now she'll flip it across. So Maryland working some clock now. And in the second half, a bit of a role reversal as Maryland has outscored Princeton 7-1 since the break. Inside shot, Whittle, no good. Flag's out. Are they going to say the flag happened before the shot? There's no 8 meters, so it goes right back to Maryland. McPartland takes the defense in again, shoots it, scores it, and McPartland sees your defense and just goes right through it anyway. 12-7, Terps lead.
The Princeton defense needs to find a way to stop Kelly McPartland as she's driving with that left hand. She is a right-handed player, but lacrosse, very important to be comfortable with both hands, as Kelly McPartland is. And she's so fast, they just need to maybe send that quick double. But again, if you send the double, someone else is going to be open with all of these offensive weapons for Maryland. So kind of pick your poison. But Princeton's found themselves now in a 5-goal deficit. Tough luck for them on the offensive end. And this draw, again, they need that.
And you just look at the game and look at the stats. It's been two different halves. Princeton outshot Maryland 12-9 in the first half. Maryland has turned that around. They've outshot Princeton 24-13 for the game now, as the draw goes up, and Maryland comes away with another one. I think Princeton's only won one draw in the second half, as Maryland has just turned this game on its head. And now another shot by McPartland, and that'll be saved and deflected out, but Maryland will come back up with it.
And Ellie DeGarmo was ready for that one in goal. Kelly McPartland the previous 2 times was left hand up, high upper right hand corner, so she saw that one all the way through.
Lehman, who already has 3 goals in the game, checked in unmarked, but Princeton did a good job of closing in on her before she could do more damage. 16:08 to go in this ball game. Terps lead 12-7, and it's really been a tale of two halves. The first half, it was Princeton's slower pace and a 2-goal lead for the Tigers. In the second half, it's been all Maryland, as they've outscored the Tigers 8-1. Make that 9-1 on that Whittle goal, as the freshman comes up with another score, and the Terps go up 13-7 with 15:54 to go.
And Maryland is starting to click on offense, picking apart this Princeton defense, getting them spread out. Once they send the double, they're just able to run by them. So again, that help defense isn't there right now for Princeton, and I expect them to talk about that in the huddle.
And Princeton will call a timeout. They'll try to talk things over, and that will be their last timeout of the game as well. As right now, the Terps lead 13-7, 15:54 to go in this ball game. And what a complete turnaround for this game. The first half, if you're Princeton, it couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, they had all of the momentum going into the second half. They even came out of the locker room very loud, very cheery, ready to start the half. And Maryland just got 3 quick goals, and they're just continuing that run. And it's very deflating if you are Princeton.
And being around Coach Reese, working with her, and if with you playing with her, playing for her, she's very in the moment in terms of we're going to play a new half at 0-0 on the scoreboard. And how does that type of mentality help a team that goes in the locker room when things didn't go their way for a half?
Yeah, always coming into the second half, if it's 0-0, whether that's you're winning by a lot, you're losing, whatever the score is, if it's tied, always 0-0 to start the new half, because you never know how a team is going to come out of the locker room, and I think Maryland has proved that they've come out firing.
And over the years, Maryland has seen teams play that style, that stall ball, if you will. But the key with that was the draw. And Maryland's one of the best teams at the draw in the country. They're number 10 overall, number 1 in the Big Ten. Princeton did a really good job with that. And all of a sudden, maybe it's a blueprint for other teams moving forward, but it takes a lot to be able to do those two things well. 1, win the draw. 2, hold onto the ball and maximize your opportunities.
Yeah, and Taylor Cummings was having a little bit of an issue in the first half with that draw control that she does so well, but she's gotten back to her ways in the second half, and that's proved to be the difference.
And the wind's starting to pick up here. Maryland coming into this game having won all 12 of theirs. Princeton 8-2, 3-0 in the Ivy. Maryland's 2-0 in the Big Ten. After this game, the Terps will hit the road. They will travel up to Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio for a Sunday tilt at 11 a.m. And then they'll head back down to Maryland and play at Johns Hopkins on Wednesday at 8:30. So Maryland, a lot of big names and a lot of big games coming up. That Hopkins rivalry, always a big one for the Terps.
Yeah, they're entering the most fun part of the season, conference play, and then you have the conference tournament, and then the playoffs. So looking ahead, it's a good time for this Terps team and the Princeton Tigers.
An exciting time in the Big Ten as Maryland and Rutgers gave the conference enough teams to have a lacrosse league. And you have Northwestern, who Maryland beat 16-5 earlier. You have Maryland. You have a really good mix of teams. Ohio State's always tough, as is Michigan. So all of a sudden, Rutgers hosting the first ever tournament. That'll be a lot of fun up in New Jersey. As a nice little fake foot there, McPartland still has it, caught everyone off guard. And McPartland, a little Houdini act on that score, 14-7. Taylor Cummings does not have the ball. The ball is in the back of the cage. Wow.
Yeah, that was a fun play. Hidden ball trick. I didn't know who had the ball until I saw it hit the back of the net.
My goodness, what a play as Maryland just erupting with excitement off of that. Houdini, hidden ball trick, whatever you want to call it. That was a pretty play as the Terps now lead 14-7. Been watching this sport for a while and having not seen one of those in person. Have you been on the field with one of those plays being executed?
Alex Oss used to be very good at that, just handy with her stick and being good at faking it and just deceiving.
With the shallower sticks in the girls' game, is it harder to pull off than in the men's game? We see it a lot more on the men's side.
Yeah, and you also have the men's lacrosse ball is white, and so is their strings most of the time, so I think it's a little bit harder to see it.
And some of the Maryland sticks do have yellow strings as one of the Terps' colors, so that might have helped out with that as well. So Princeton getting their chance on offense now, trying to stop this run. The Tigers make you move up top. A little one-on-one action near side, so they might have an opportunity for the ISO, but they'll go behind.
And they can't really be as slow-paced as they have been in the rest of this game, being down 7 goals with half of the second half to play. They need to be a little bit more aggressive.
Here comes an 8-meter opportunity for Princeton, a chance to cash in and cut into this lead. Bouncing shot, score for the Tigers. So Princeton cutting into this lead and trying to claw their way back in. That's Hompy, the leading scorer of the Tigers, with that goal.
And Humpy really did her work on that shot before she even shot the ball. She had a nice little stutter step, faked high, shot it low.
And against a goalie like Alex Fitzpatrick, it's smart. Get her off her spot. As we go back to center circle, Maryland has had success at the draw this half, but Princeton did well in the first half. And all of a sudden, there's still a lot of time on this clock for Princeton to make a run. So can't count out the Tigers just yet as they try to make this a ball game once again.
Yeah, they're not going away.
Ball set. Draws up. High ball. Collins fighting for it. She'll come down with it. Maryland on the run. Maryland inside their restraining area already, and they will settle into their offense as Lehman checks in. Cummings with it up top. Cummings now working it. Crossfield pass looking for Griffin. Not quite there. Whittle trying to track it down, but that'll be a turnover, so opportunity knocks for Princeton.
If Brooke Griffin had corralled that ball, it would have been a one-on-one with the goalie. Princeton lucky that it went out of bounds. Now they need to clear it safely.
And they've done a pretty good job at clearing all game. They haven't really had to clear too many from the deep end, as that's a nice play by Stukenberg. Scoops it up, spinorama, low shot, scoring. And the sophomore does it all on that play. Defense, offense, and score as Maryland goes up 15-8, 13:26 to go.
As soon as Ellie DeGarmo pulled her stick back and was ready to throw it, Zoe Stukenberg read the play. She knew that she was passing into that middle Princeton player and just sprinted to get it, got the check off.
And as kind of quiet as the field hockey and lacrosse complex here was, it's all of a sudden come alive. The pace quickening as we've gone from Princeton's pace to Maryland pedal to the metal in the second half. As this draw gets set, we have a change for Princeton at the draw circle. It's McMunn, and Cummings had it, but a nice job by Princeton to check it out. Cummings still fighting for it, and out of the scrum comes Brady, and Brady gets it to Mercer. Far side pass now, so Maryland gets in the offensive zone. Let's see if they'll look to bleed clock or go to goal. 13:06 to go in this game.
Maryland is not a team to put their foot on the brakes. I expect them to continue to push it.
Now Whittle has it near side. She'll go behind to Griffin. Now it's Collins. Now double sent at Taylor Cummings. Cummings, nice inside pass, but defense all over it. DeGarma scoops it up, and now Princeton trying to turn this into a transition chance with Maryland doubling.
Credit to Princeton's defense there with the quick double. They were able to catch Maryland's offense off guard, and they just weren't ready for all that pressure.
Now Princeton in the midfield. They've cleared midfield, and they're inside the restraining area. Princeton still with it, but a check and a loose ball goes to Maryland, so Maryland's defense returns the favor, and now they're pushing the pace. It's Cummings with it. Cummings inside the restraining area. Trying to make a move inside. Cummings, high shot, no good, but Griffin is nearest.
Good job by Kelly McPartland, never giving up on that play, even though it was pushed all the way down the end of the field. She was always trailing that girl with the ball and got the check off.
Stukenberg with it up top. Gets it to Collins as Maryland will work the ball around. A little four corners offense spreading the field. That double perhaps making Maryland a little bit more cautious on this time down.
And Princeton probably, I was going to say they probably will send that double again because they did find success Maryland's last possession.
And it seems like there's a call coming in from the Princeton sideline at the precise moment they want the pressure applied.
Yeah, you don't want to send the double when the ball is around the crease because that just leaves open other opportunities that you don't want. You want to send the double when the ball is high.
So Princeton going to have to play some defense inside now, but McPartland will pull it out. 11-11 to go in this ball game. 15-8 Terps lead as Maryland looks to move to 13-0 in the Big Ten, and Princeton looking to keep things going in the Ivy League. They've played really well this season, played a lot of close games, and led this game early. They led by 2 goals at the break, so they hung tough with Maryland for a half, playing a slower pace, but Maryland really turning it up in the second half, allowing just 1 goal since halftime while piling in 9.
Credit to Princeton, they held with Maryland for at least one half of this game, and that's not something that a lot of other teams can say this season. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with come May and during the playoffs. So Princeton's not going away, and I expect them to have a great rest of their regular season.
As McPartland had it behind, looking for the one-timer, and that'll be Taylor Cummings getting on the scoreboard as she hooks up with McPartland to Cummings. 16-8 Terps lead. And Maryland now outscoring the Tigers 12-1 in this second half.
Yeah, that's definitely something that the Princeton coaches are going to discuss after the game and as the season progresses. You don't want to have a letdown like that. Only scoring 1 goal and a half while allowing so many more. That's an issue. It's something that's fixable, and it's deflating. But again, Princeton has had a good first half, and they've proved that they can hang with the best.
And whatever the Maryland coaches said to the players at halftime, I think needs to go on a motivational poster, because I think a lot can be accomplished with that. 2 different teams here in this game, 2 different halves. As Cummings wins that draw, she's off to the races inside. Shot goes in, and Taylor Cummings just being Taylor Cummings on that play. And now it's 17-8 Terps lead with 10:06 to go in this game.
And this is becoming more of a score that Maryland is used to. Now they may choose to send in some subs, get the starters some rest.
As the number of shots has just dramatically changed. First half, Princeton led that statistic 12-9. Second half, Maryland for the game leads 30-14. So Princeton with just 5 shots in the second half, Maryland outshooting them by 23-5.
Yeah, not something that you can have if you're Princeton. If you don't shoot it, you're not going to score. So they definitely need to have more volume in that category.
So a lot of time here, 10 minutes to go. Princeton has been game all game. They haven't gone away, and let's see if they can all of a sudden make this a game once again. As Dowdy gets that draw, it's checked, but that'll be a foul. Back to Maryland.
And there's Megan Dowdy again. I think one of the biggest swings in this game was when she got that knockdown when Princeton was a man up. They kind of pushed the motivation for the Terps, and there was no looking back after that play.
It seemed like the illegal stick call on Taylor Cummings earlier in the game lit a fire under a team that already had a fire lit under them.
Yeah, that could have gone either way. Sometimes you see teams deflating. We saw earlier this year when Syracuse, they had that goal called back when it was a 1-goal game between Maryland and Syracuse, and that was a turning point for the worse for Syracuse. Here you have a turning point for the better.
Yeah, in that game, Syracuse tied the game up, and then a stick check revealed an illegal stick. So that goal called back, and then Maryland went on, I believe, a 4-goal run to turn that game. And here Maryland, rather than folding under that adversity, uses it to propel itself forward. Just under 9 minutes to go, and Taylor Cummings and Megan Whittle playing some catch on the near side.
Just inviting that pressure, and here it comes.
And Cummings breaks the double team, triple team whistle, and Cummings will get a free possession from the top as Maryland attempts to invoke a running clock with a 10-goal lead.
And almost better there for Princeton to step in front of Taylor Cummings and get that shooting space call, because otherwise it would have been a one-on-one with the goalie.
Bouncing shot goes wide. Maryland's near, so Terps retain possession. So Kristen Lehman sets up behind the cage. She already has a hat trick. The freshman Megan Whittle with it near side. Whittle's still with it, waiting for the pressure now, beating the defender the inside, but she'll elect to pass it up top to Cummings.
And that's something that you see Maryland doing a lot, especially as the game is winding down and they have a lead, just spreading it out and inviting the defense to come out and pressure them, because that's when they like to run by people.
A little cat and mouse game as they wait and then try to blow right past, and Whittle does that here inside the 8. Flag comes out, she'll get the shooting space call. Just under 8 to go, 17-8 Terps lead. Trying to get Whittle set up correctly and the defender set up correctly. Whittle sets up, she'll take the shot and score it. The freshman makes it an 18-8 game, and with a 10-goal lead, we will now have a running clock until Princeton can either cut that or we reach the 2-minute mark.
And that's the hardest shot to save. You're off stick side. Good job by Megan Whittle recognizing that.
And with this Terps team and this loaded senior class, Inside Lacrosse on their most recent cover had the Terps had several of the seniors, including Taylor Cummings in the middle, draped with the Maryland flag, and the big text, best team ever, question mark. Of course, we aren't going to find out that answer until Memorial Weekend, but this team looking pretty good, and Kathy Reese does such a good job of trying to deflect that type of tension. You've been on teams that have had undefeated runs and that sort of thing. How does Coach Reese deal with that and help the team move forward and not get caught up in that sort of hype?
She's very, very level-headed, and like we said before, focusing only on Maryland. Also very important, just focusing on one game at a time. If you have a big opponent later in the week and you have someone before that, you have to focus on the game at hand and not look forward to the next one.
As Maryland will set up behind the cage, or excuse me, Princeton will set up behind.
We need to get Stephanie Palacio involved here. She's had a lot of success for Princeton on offense.
Tigers retreating right back to the midfield, or back to the 12. Taylor Cummings on defense here and will force that ball out. And Princeton so aggressive early, they need to continue to play aggressive. They've had Maryland's number at times, but you got to get on the board and you got to break this scoring run, and that will do it. A nice shot there for the Tigers as they make it an 18-9 game, and they turn off the running clock rule as now it's within 9 goals.
And Princeton's done a very good job when they have scored of finding that open cutter in the middle. Once you see her stick not guarded by someone on white, that's when you just have to thread the needle and trust your teammate that she's going to catch it.
And that was McMunn with that goal. So she already has a couple in this game, and she'll get involved there on that. 6:07 to go. So go back to center circle.
And there's still time for Princeton to cut into this lead and kind of leave the game on a higher note.
And they'll win this draw, and they were so good at the draw in the first half, which fueled them to a 2-goal lead by halftime. Maryland, though, flipping the script in the second half and just pushing the pace quickly, and instead of that slower pace that favored Princeton in the first half, as the Tigers look to make this clear. Princeton ball on the near side now as they get into their straining area and look to go and extend a little bit of a scoring run now. Inside McMunn, McGoal, as Princeton cuts it to 18-10 with 5:35 to go in the ball game.
And that's a similar play as last time, feeding it inside to Erin McMunn. If you're a Maryland defensive player, you have to recognize that that's what they're doing right now with 5 minutes left in the game. And Erin McMunn's doing a great job of catching it, staying composed as the defensive pressure is coming, and finding the back of the net.
And with only 4 more regular season games to go, it looks like Maryland has kept all their starters in, and I think at this point of the season with so many lopsided games for Maryland, that conditioning and in-game conditioning, probably trying to keep that up as they haven't really made too many wholesale substitutions at this point.
Yeah, you'd be surprised about how different being in shape and being in game shape is. It's just a very different level of conditioning.
Eight-goal game with 5:35 to go. We head to center circle. We're going to get a whistle on that, and it will go to Maryland. And at times, teams have gone quickly on the draw, and with Cummings being so good at it throughout the season. No foul there. Cummings looked to have been tapped in the head, but Maryland gets it in the offensive zone with 5:20 to go.
And Princeton's definitely going to want to send that double when the ball's up top here.
Behind the cage now near side to Whittle. And you talk about working on situational lacrosse if you're Maryland. This is situational lacrosse at its best as you try to close out a game as best you can, and it's something that they'll have to do come playoff time.
And we have seen the Terps in a few games this season kind of collapse towards the end of the game, and that's not something that you want to see as a team and as a whole. So we'll see what they do here as we are below 5 minutes in the second half.
The one thing that is a little different here is Maryland is using their starters, it seems, all the way through, or at least their rotation, so the play not as sloppy as when you have some of the other players come in looking to get some game experience. McPartland up top, McPartland far side, as Maryland continues to just bleed this clock down and try to bait Princeton into a double.
And Princeton now is using the people on their restraining line as substitutions. It gets very tiring on defense when you are really trying to get the ball back and hustling all over the field for the ball.
Whittle driving inside, she's bumped, she'll get an 8-meter, and if you're Maryland, you'll probably pull this one right back out and run some more clock.
I wouldn't be surprised if she went in for this one.
And that's why Beth Glaros played and I commentated while we were at school, and Maryland tried a shot there. Whittle will get another crack at it, and as Beth had said, perhaps she'll go to goal.
We'll see what they do. I think someone got called for a yellow card over here, so Maryland has a man-up opportunity. We'll see if she elects to take advantage of the man-up opportunity.
High shot, and they're going to say that Lehman was a little bit closer than McMunn back there.
No, there's no man-up opportunity. It was just a substitute.
So Lehman flings it all the way to Stukenberg. Near side, Cummings.
And Maryland looking to draw the shooting space here with all of these Princeton defenders kind of having to rotate a lot and focus on many girls at a time, not just the girl that they are marking.
2:50 to go in this ball game. Maryland leads 18-10. And for Maryland, this was a good experience for them. Teams will try to play that stall ball tactic, and for a half, it worked for Princeton. They led 6-4 at the break. Maryland flips the switch, and for Maryland, what do you take away from this game moving forward? Because teams will try to emulate what Princeton did in the first half when championships are on the line, the Big Ten championship, the national championship.
I think they got more of a feel for what works and what's not working, and even if certain players aren't playing their best, other people step up and are ready to accept that challenge. And you obviously always want to play your best lacrosse, but if it's not your night or the game's not going the way you want it to, it's good to see that you can still come out with a win over a good opponent.
Cummings shot saved. Loose ball inside. Second shot. Does that go in, or are they going to call the crease? It's going to be a crease violation. No goal. Princeton ball inside. So Princeton, a nice defensive stand there as that'll be picked right back off by McPartland. And Princeton, a great showing by them today. They will play at Cornell on Saturday their next time out. There'll be a 3 o'clock tilt in the Ivy League. Meanwhile, Maryland will travel to play number 14 Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio at 11 p.m. on Sunday. So they'll have brunch, I guess, with Ohio State, an early tilt there. And then they'll come back, play Johns Hopkins on Wednesday. So a week from tonight, the rivalry renewed as they play Hopkins at 8:30 in Baltimore. Always fun with the Terps and Hopkins. Maryland then closes out its regular season with Michigan State, which will be on BTN to go, and then Penn State, which will be on the network.
Maryland does have some challenging opponents coming up, which is good for them as they enter the conference tournament and the playoffs. You need to be a little bit battle-tested as you enter those elimination tournaments.
And here and there, Maryland played Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State over the years, but never for a conference championship like this season. So it's all a matter, too, of getting a feel for the opponents and that style. Maryland's used to the up-tempo ACC style. The Big Ten style, a little bit different. Northwestern plays at up-tempo, but for the most part, the other teams play a bit of a different style, so trying to get a feel for that. How important is that?
Yeah, teams, like you said earlier, will elect to play whatever that they can against Maryland to slow them down, and whether that be trying to run with them and keep up goals as they score them, or trying to slow down on the offensive end, whatever that may be, Maryland just has to be ready for it. And this game against Princeton was a good first test for the slower-paced game.
And with how effective Maryland's offense is, I mean, they've scored in double figures this entire season. Their defense kind of flies under the radar a little bit, but Megan Dowdy, Pepperman, Hadnaggy, that entire defensive back line has been together for a couple years now, and they're really stout on the defensive end. This is not an offensive powerhouse with a weak defense that's being covered up by a strong offense by any means.
Yeah, and that's what makes Maryland such a force to be reckoned with. Their defense, their offense, everything is in tune, and all of the players are so comfortable being together. Like you said, they have been together for at least a year, some 2, some 3, some 4, and that's important that you gain confidence in each other and you're comfortable enough to trust each other and just always have their back.
And that'll wrap up this game as the clock runs out, and Maryland will move to 13-0 on the season. They are 2-0 in the Big Ten. Princeton falls to 8-3. They are 3-0 in the Ivy League. And Maryland, a tale of two games, as we said earlier. The first half, it was that slower Princeton pace. The second half, Maryland taking it over, outscoring Princeton, and coming away with the big win. A big-time thank you to all of our help, our production staff, everyone behind the scenes that made this possible here on BTN To Go. For Beth Glaros, I'm Brian Kapoor. Thank you so much for listening.